Voice of Change News.
This is Voice of Change Radio News. I'm Amanda Kumalo. A quick look at stories making the headlines. Preach Gospel of Peace, President urges lawyers. In business news, huge progress as tobacco sales hit over $800 million US. In regional and international news, Uganda military rescues 3 of 6 students abducted by rebels. In sports news, Chevrons focus shifts to West Indies. The news in detail. President Mnangagwa yesterday urged the legal fraternity to join the national crusade of preaching the gospel of peace and unity as the nation moves towards the August 23 harmonized elections. He made the remarks at the Silver Jubilee of one of the country's leading law firms, DMH, Dube, Manikai and Wachalo Chambers, and the official opening of DMH House in Harare. President Mnangagwa said elections were fast approaching and the profession knew of the importance of peace, tranquility and harmony during the election period. President Mnangagwa said it was the duty of all Zimbabweans to condemn the economic sabotage and hybrid attacks on the country's independence and national interest. The government, he said, would continue to put in place measures to promote sustainable growth of the economy, increase investments, production and productivity towards the realization of development that leaves no one and no place behind. He further urged the nation not to tire in fostering a unit of purpose across all the sectors of the economy, adding that the legal profession, of which he was a member by training, should join the government in nation-building efforts. Meanwhile, President Mnangagwa yesterday humbly submitted himself to the Constitution as he visited the nomination court that sat at the High Court in Harare to check on his papers that had already been filed and duly accepted to make him one of the candidates for the presidential poll on August 23. As a demonstration of the country's maturing democracy, a multiplicity of parties and candidates made their submissions at the nomination courts that sat countrywide. By close of the nomination court yesterday, 7 candidates had successfully filed their papers to stand on the presidential ballot. In other news, a pioneer indigenous businessman and farmer, Comrade Ben Mucheche, who died last week and was declared a national hero, will be laid to rest today at his farm in Beatrice. Comrade Mucheche succumbed to heart failure at his farm on June 14 at the age of 96. In business news, over 270 million kgs of tobacco worth $817 million US have been sold at the auction and contract floors since the beginning of the marketing season in March, with a lot of money flowing into the tobacco farming areas. This year, farmers had a target of 230 million kgs of tobacco compared to 212 million kgs produced last year, and the crop so far sold has significantly exceeded that target, with more tobacco expected to be sold before the season closes. Statistics from Tobacco Industries and Marketing Board (TIMB) indicate that this is an increase of 52% from 177 million kgs sold during the same period in 2022 at a value of $169 million US. In news beyond our borders, the Ugandan military has rescued 3 of the 6 students who were kidnapped by rebel fighters when they stormed a school in the west of the country last week and massacred 42 people, mostly young students, the army said on Wednesday. The attack was one of the most horrific in Uganda in decades. And finally, in sports news, In what turned out to be arguably the best match so far in the ongoing 2023 Men's Cricket World Cup qualifiers, Scotland edged Ireland by just 1 wicket in a last-ball thriller played at Queen's Sports Club yesterday in Bulawayo. The Chevrons have won their first 2 opening matches against Nepal and the Netherlands and will be in good spirits heading into the group's headlining game. Speaking after Zimbabwe's win against Netherlands on Tuesday, Sikandar Raza said they are thinking about the winners' game. The 37-year-old all-rounder also added that other matches that they are set to play are also on their minds and not just the game against the Caribbean side. That brings us to the end of this bulletin.
Voice of Change News.